Welcome back to Made for More. I am your host, Holly J. Moore. On Made for More, we are all about leveling up. No more autopilot, no more just surviving your days. It is time to thrive. Aaron, are you ready to step it up?
I'm on autopilot.
No, you're not supposed to be.
Yeah, well, no, but you didn't tell me I wasn't supposed to be. That's just how it goes.
No, autopilot is just like survival mode.
I'm just kind of like...
Did you make your bed this morning?
No, I didn't. No, so
What?
so today's guest... Bernie, he has this amazing article on LinkedIn, and I was reading it. Obviously, we do guest prep here.
Yes,
so much
we do.
guest prep.
We do, yes.
And it's got all these things, like simple ways that you can improve your life. You can improve, discipline and results and all the other things. I hadn't done one of them. So in emailing him saying, hey, just wanted to confirm that we're going to be talking on Friday. Looking forward to it. By the way, I didn't make my bed. I took a long shower. It wasn't cold at all. I parked right next to the office. I'm not walking at all. I didn't. My kitchen is a mess. What else did I? Just everything. Everything. What am I doing?
I don't know. I don't know what you're doing. But, get ready. Bernie is a 20-year Navy SEAL veteran, hardcore, so... strap in, buddy. We have the pleasure and honor of being joined today by Bernie McMahon, retired Navy SEAL, and he is going to school us today on how to have a strong mind and be very mentally resilient. Bernie, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, Holly, actually, it's my pleasure. I'm really excited to get a chance to spend this time with you and your listeners and viewers, and more importantly, to join you on this amazing journey that you're on to showcase the resiliency of living your life to its fullest.
Yes, thank you. And actually, before we jump into, all the real meat of the show, you told me that you get requests to be on podcasts all the time. People are reaching out to you on LinkedIn, like you have a very impressive background. Yeah. But I mean, maybe you just said this to make me feel good. I don't think so though, because you would want me to be mentally resilient, I feel like. But you told me this is maybe one of a couple or the only podcast invitation you've accepted.
That is correct. Holly, this is my first venture.
Okay. Why now? Why Made for More?
Great question. And I think it comes down to most of the podcasts that I was being asked and have been asked to be a part of tended to be very military focused, very SEAL focused, special forces focused. And I felt like I was just another story in a vast array.
Got it.
But what I love about your podcast is the message you want to send, the audience that you want to reach out to. And I was just inspired by your journey. And I said, you know what? I'm going to pull the Band-Aid off. I'm going to get a little resilient myself. And I'm going to push myself out of my comfort zone. And I'm going to do something that I haven't done yet. So here I am.
Awesome.
A virgin podcaster. So be gentle.
Okay.
Don't hurt me.
I will not. I'll be very gentle. But Bernie, as a 21 year, I think, Navy SEAL, I mean, I'm pretty sure you can handle it.
Well, thank you.
All right, so let's jump in. I know you have created some content, written some published articles on mental resiliency. What exactly is that?
Yeah. Well, it's a great question, and I think that mental resiliency is paramount to being the best version of ourselves. And I'm passionate about delivering that in any way I possibly can to the people that I come in contact with and the people that I influence. Because I do believe we all, at some form or fashion, need to be the best form of ourselves. And I think it starts with mental resiliency. And to me, mental resiliency is a couple of things. The first is waking up every day and seeking discomfort, seeking something hard. Had a conversation this morning with somebody here at work and challenged them. They were, oh, it's a bad day. I'm not having a great day. And we went through why. And I said, what was your approach to life when you got up this morning? And literally their view was life was going to impact them. And my mental resiliency approach is, how about you wake up and attack life? And when you seek discomfort throughout the day, you are strengthening your mind.
Okay.
I think of the mind as a muscle. Holly, we've all worked out. We've all
Yes.
done a physical endeavor. We've tried to lose weight. We've tried to get in shape. I'm going to run my first 5K. I'm going to
Yeah.
run a ultra marathon, whatever it might be. And we know that in order to do that, you have to
You have to train.
have a training plan. You have to, you can't, if I'm going to do 100 push-ups, I can't do it to tomorrow. I have to do maybe 5 today and then 6 and then 6 and 7. You build it up.
Right.
And I think what we forget throughout our just in the daily grind is that our mind is also a muscle and needs to be exercised.
Right.
Think about the last time you went through a difficult mental problem and you figured it out. Whether it's a crossword
Well, that
puzzle
was
or
yesterday,
Sudoku.
Bernie,
That's
when I
why-
canceled my call
Yeah.
with you.
Well, that's true. That's true. And life is crazy. And so it's like, all right, how do we challenge ourselves every day and strengthen our mental muscle? And I think part of that is seeking discomfort and pushing yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone and challenging yourself in every day. And I'll give you a bunch of examples.
Perfect,
And I do
because
this
that's what I was going to
personally.
ask for.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's Admiral McRaven. Made it very famous about making your bed. He wrote a book. He was one of my mentors in the SEAL teams. But long before that came out, that making your bed was a mental tough thing that my father had just sort of beat into me.
Okay.
But it's waking up and doing the right thing,
Right.
and doing the little things that are easy to overlook, but difficult to do sometimes.
Yeah.
Like making your bed.
Right. Do you make your bed
I-
every single morning
I- I-
without
I-
fail?
every morning without fail, and I'll one up you.
Oh.
When I'm in a hotel, I make the bed.
What? You do?
Yes, I do, and I'm like, I have to. It's ingrained in me. But man, there's such pride in like I'm gonna attack the day, and I
Yeah.
started it out by doing the very simple thing. I made the bed,
Right.
and I love the fact in my vision. It's like that maid comes in, the house cleaning,
Yeah.
and they walk in and they're like, damn,
Yeah,
the bed's made.
totally.
I guess I like who lives in this house? Like,
Yeah,
who's
who
renting this
stayed
room?
here? Yes.
Right.
Wow.
Right. So if you do the little things and flip it on this how many times do we go to bed with the kitchen dirty or dishes in the sink?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people maybe, but there's rest of us that like that's a big thing. And I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
I can't do that.
Finish the day right.
Yeah.
Do the hard thing.
Right.
Wash the dishes, put them away, and then you wake up in the morning and it's awesome. It's amazing.
Yes.
But it transcends just routines. I think about do you take the elevator or take the stairs?
That
How
kinda
many of
depends.
us
That
sit
depends on my
there-
shoes.
Yeah, it kind of. And so you guys have a shoe issue 100%, but you choose to wear the shoes.
True.
And so now you
Ooh.
have to say, you know what? I'm going to take the stairs in these shoes.
Right.
That's the pain of having the enjoyment of wearing these shoes.
Oh,
Why not?
okay. Yeah.
Parking lots. Are you going to sit and wait for the that spot that's right next to it, or are you just going to go park at the end in the shoes and walk all the way to Target, right?
Yeah.
And I just think that we as a society have gotten lazy.
Totally.
We've gotten soft, and if there's an easy way, we'll do it all the time.
Totally. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Do you think people today would stand in line for something that was free?
Probably.
If you were giving away a free Starbucks coffee, would people stand in line for that?
I don't know. Probably not.
It's a
I
gr-
know I
it's a
wouldn't.
No.
Yeah.
No. And you are the vast majority of American public today.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it was free, they're not going to waste their time to
Right.
stand in line for something. And I think, well, why? It's free. It's a cup of coffee. It's
Yeah.
free. Yeah, but it's 10 minutes of my time. Well, it's free. And I
Yeah.
think that's just sort of one of those stigmas of our society as we've gotten weak. So my
Right.
challenge to you and to the audience is, first and foremost, how do we seek discomfort? How do we seek something that's hard? And
Mm-hmm.
how do we do that every day?
Okay.
Take the stairs.
Yeah.
Don't take the elevator. Carry the groceries in. Don't pay somebody to do it.
Yeah.
Take the cart back after you go to the grocery store. Don't just leave it there. Make
Mm-hmm.
your bed. None of these are in and of themselves a difficult task, but it's a collective mindset. And if you
Right.
wake up and you strengthen that mind muscle by
Yeah.
doing the right thing, the hard thing, then you get to become more mentally resilient.
Can you tell people, because there's going to be people listening. I mean, my kids just hate like running errands with me because I always park in the furthest
Yep.
spot away. Mom, why can't
Yep.
you park closer?
Yep.
Why do we have to walk all the way in? Like, we're getting our steps in. It's good for us. Like, but they just hate it. And
That's right.
that's probably the mindset of a lot of people is like, why on earth, especially, in modern day society, would I want to make myself uncomfortable? So we Instacart, we Amazon, we do all the things. Everything just
Oh,
floats to
yes.
us with very little
Yes.
effort.
Yes.
What do you think is the benefit of first making yourself uncomfortable, and then that leads to mental resiliency? But what is the benefit of
Yeah.
actually having this resiliency?
Yeah. And I think that the unpredictable nature of our life and our society is where the benefit comes. And if your kids expect entitlement and they want to be driven to the front of the store and dropped off, and they're not willing to walk the 50
Right.
meters, let's be serious here, right?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
not that long.
Right.
But they do it with, if they don't accept that, when they do face real adversity,
Yeah.
a real challenge, they're going to fold quickly because
Right.
they know no other option. Well, this was difficult, so I'm just going to quit.
Right.
And I want to create a society of people who don't want to quit. And
Yes.
and that's the challenge, is that mental toughness of how do we build our resiliency so when we are faced with challenges, we don't quit.
Right.
COVID, mind-boggling, changed the way we live. My kids were all somewhere in college or high school and college, post college. Um, it was an amazingly resilient time if you looked at it from that perspective.
Yeah.
And we look back, and weird for me to say, but it was an amazing time.
Yes. I
We
have that.
loved COVID.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a chance for my three kids, my wife and I, to sit in the house, isolated but together,
Yeah.
and enjoy each other's company for several months that we thought we would never get again.
Right.
That we hadn't had since they were in like grade school.
I know,
And we were
yeah.
like, this is such an amazing experience. But they're products of me, so they're incredibly resilient, trust me.
Yes.
But that was where we were able to see that. And yet we all know people who literally crumbled in the face of that adversity.
So true.
Were
Yes.
unable to cope, deal with the stress, deal with the anxiety. And that I understand. Pandemic, massive issue. But let's take it to a smaller. What if somebody in the workplace looks at you differently, or says something, or responds in a certain way to an email that sends you into a tailspin?
Right.
That's weakness. You're
Yes.
letting that control you instead of waking up every day going, I'm going to be mentally resilient. I'm going to control what I can control, which is making my bed, taking care of the situation, pushing myself. And if you can do that, then that little email, that little human exchange that might have sent you off,
Yeah.
you let it roll off your back like water off a duck's back, and you're like, yeah, okay.
Right.
She might be having a problem, a hard day. Maybe she misunderstood, but I'm not going to let it impact me. So
Yeah.
that's where I think the positive return on that investment is it allows you and equips you to be prepared for the inevitability of conflict and crisis that comes in the future.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, because it is inevitable, right? Like none of us escape, none of us escape getting those emails that make our blood boil. None of us escape like the things in life that are hard. I mean, life is full of challenges and struggles and suffering, and it's kind of all about how you respond to them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I blend this mental resiliency with a Stoic philosophy that I was actually one of my SEAL brothers taught me when I was in Afghanistan in the face of fairly consequential loss that we had as a community.
Right.
I was in a moment of struggle of my faith and my belief and confidence in myself, and he led me to Stoicism. Did a ton of reading, and it gets a little bit of a misnomer because a lot of people in the world think that Stoicism is that belief where you don't have any emotion.
Yes,
and it's
cold
not, in
and
fact,
heartless.
that at all. It's yes, right.
Yes.
It's like, oh, he's stoic. Oh,
Right.
he has no emotion. Like, don't invite him to the party. He won't sing.
Right.
And it's like, no, that's the exact opposite. They're going to enjoy it. They're going to live life to its fullest, but they're going to control their emotions, and they're going to remove the unwanted emotions, the anger, the
Right.
jealousy, the greed. And when I began to see my life through that stoic lens, I was able to impact and control the things that I could control.
Yeah.
And I let the rest of it go. So when I wake up and I take my mental resiliency side and I lay it on top of doing things that I can control, because that makes me feel good, that's the right thing. I don't want to wait for an elevator.
Right.
I'm going to control myself by taking the stairs. It's
Yeah.
the hard part. It's the easy part. So that's where I really do believe like that mental resiliency can pave the way.
Yeah. So I wasn't really planning on asking you this, but I am kind of curious now. How do you because I mean, so just for example, this morning when I was driving in, this guy was like honking at me at every stoplight because I wasn't going fast enough when the light turned green.
Yep.
And I thought to myself, he must be so angry at something. Like, because I mean, it's literally like a nanosecond. And I feel like I see this all the time in, like with everybody, is people are just triggered so easily by the smallest thing.
Yeah.
So how do you think we've gotten to that place as a society where everything is so upsetting to us? Everything is offensive to us.
Right.
Everything, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, how have we gotten there?
Right. I think we've gotten there because we have a lack of mental resiliency, because we have replaced the desire to do the hard thing with a desire for an entitlement for the easy.
Yes.
And my belief that I'm more important than you supplants my desire to be a good citizen in our world. And so that now current mindset is one of, I need to get to work faster than you, even though we're all going
Right.
down the I-10 at the same time.
Yes.
I clearly am way more important than you are. So get out of
Right.
my way.
Yes.
And it's a fallacy, and it increases stress and blood pressure, and you're angry. And again, you have now given control, all those emotions away. And I think
Right.
about it as a glass full of emotion. That guy behind you just threw his glass of emotion out the window, gave it to you, and now you control everything about his day.
Yes.
If you go a little slower, he's going to get even more upset.
Which I did, by the way.
Well-
I did go a little slower.
Of course you did. Of course you did. As is we're all apt to do. And then he, gets out in road rage, and
Right.
we see you.
Yeah,
on-
I was like,
on
I hope I
TV.
don't get shot, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And so instead of that approach, there was a period of time when I came back after I retired, and we had some interesting times in the teams where you're deployed, you're on doing a mission, and then 20 hours later you're home taking your daughter to like a middle
Right.
school soccer game.
Yes.
And so I was pretty wound, and I certainly had road rage. I mean, nobody was cutting me off. And if a blonde in a nice car in front of me just took a nanosecond to go, I was laying on the horn.
Really?
I might have oh God, in a heartbeat. And I might have given you some of my favorite signs and my hand signals, and Hey, you're number one. But yeah, and my kids were like, I don't want to drive in the car with you.
Oh
Like it
my
was stressful
gosh.
for them.
Yes.
And that stoic piece came back and laid on top of it and doing the
Mhm.
right thing, the hard thing. And I started saying, why am I giving my energy to that blonde in front of me? She
Right.
doesn't deserve it. I don't even
Yeah.
know her.
Yeah.
So instead, I've changed the way I approach driving, and I look at it as an advantage and a great sanctuary to listen to the music I want, the podcasts I want,
Yeah.
talk to my friends, I make phone calls. And so if now the person in front of me takes a few extra seconds to leave, I'm okay
Yeah.
because it just gives me a few extra seconds to listen to that podcast.
Right.
It's changed. It's changed the way I drive.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. It's not stressful. Um, and again, it's just about the mind
Mhm.
muscle and
Right.
how you intend to use it and apply it. And
Yeah.
if you seek those opportunities to control what you can control and to push yourself, I'm telling you, life is so much nicer. It's so
Right.
much better.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, I'm a divorce lawyer, and sometimes it feels like, I just am I am in conflict for a living. But
Yes. Yes.
because it's not my personal conflict, most of the time, it doesn't necessarily ruffle my feathers. I can see it objectively, but for the
Yeah.
clients, even the most benign email will really send them into a tailspin because the lens they're viewing it through, it seems very adversarial. It's, oh my gosh, I hate that other attorney. She's out to get me,
Right.
he or she.
Yep. Yep.
So what could we tell like our clients that sort of are in this constant state of being triggered or fight or flight or whatever it is, where it's like everything
Yeah.
is angering
Yeah.
them?
Yeah.
What can they do to
Yeah.
sort of be more on an even keel and not have all those little things all
Absolutely.
day long be so triggering to
Yep.
them?
Yep. And it's I put it in an interesting context because you do see conflict and you see emotional turmoil and emotional damage that occurs from a divorce. And sadly,
Yes.
within the SEAL community, I was one of the few that escaped
Right.
with an intact marriage, which
Oh,
I'm
I'm sure.
amazingly blessed to having had a huge partner. But it was about
Yeah.
an 80% divorce rate, so very high. So lots and
Yes.
lots of friends have gone through it. But because it's emotional, because it's visceral, it's right there. Um, we are triggered. We're triggered by
Yeah.
the littlest of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I always try to the colleagues and friends that I have that go through this is counsel them and tell them that you are actually letting the other side win.
Yeah.
That person who you do not like, who you've separated from, who's hurt you, every time you react that way, they're winning and you're
Mm-hmm.
losing.
Right.
And in a game where you don't want to lose,
Mm-hmm.
why wouldn't you want to be the happiest you could possibly be in their absence
Right.
and control the entire structure of your side of the agreement so that you are the best and happiest version of yourself? And don't
Absolutely.
let any of it impact you in a negative way. If it does, you simply call your lawyer, Holly, and you say, Holly, take care of this.
Yeah.
I'm going to the park to enjoy my day. And
Right.
that's your job.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's hard. It's emotional.
It's
It's
it
it's he
it's
did this and
so much
she did
easier
that.
said than done because yes, of course,
It
like, I
is.
tell
It
people the
is.
best revenge is to like live your best life and, like you said, like be the
Ah,
happiest version.
yes.
It's
Yes.
so much easier said than
Yes.
done.
It is. And again, so this goes back full circle to we never know when any of this will transpire, right?
Yeah.
And a relationship will turn south for any number of reasons.
Right.
So why not prepare today for the uncertainty and the eventuality of the risk that we're going to deal with by controlling what you can control and being emotionally tough, by taking little steps every day to work on your mental mind.
Yeah.
If you can do that, I think when something horrible does transpire, a death, a loss, another pandemic, a financial crisis that might ensue if the stock market goes down, a recession, losing your job,
Yeah.
or in your particular case, say, an unfortunate family situation where there's a divorce and there's a custody battle and there's all of those raw emotions, you're a little bit better prepared and you're able to have some mental resiliency so you can control your narrative and your story, and you can say, hey, it's okay.
Yeah.
This isn't about me. This is their choice.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to control my life, and I'm going to read books, and I'm going to go to the movies I want. I'm going to dress the way I want. I'm going to see who I want, and I'm going to communicate with my lawyer in the best way, and she's going to handle this perfectly for me, and it's okay. It's going to work out.
Yeah. So Bernie,
But easier said than done.
Yeah, it is easier said than done. But I think what you're telling us is to not get so triggered by, emails from opposing counsel, or maybe even, still in a marriage with your spouse, they make you mad, all those things. It really just starts with making our bed. Is that really what you're saying?
It really does.
Yeah.
It starts with getting up every day and saying, I'm gonna make my bed. I'm gonna do the little things. I'm gonna seek out something hard to do today that I normally don't do.
Yeah.
And I'll challenge you, and I'll challenge our listeners. It doesn't need to be difficult. What about calling your mom and telling her you love her? Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's not hard.
Right.
But when was the last time any of us did that? Well, you know what? We need to do that.
Right.
What about thanking the barista at Starbucks instead of just grabbing the coffee and go? And use their name. Hey, Sarah, thanks so much. I really appreciate what you do. I appreciate you. It's such a small thing.
Yeah.
It's hard to do because we don't find the time in our day.
Right.
And that's my challenge to the listeners is wake up tomorrow and set a goal to seek something hard and go do it.
Okay. Well, that is a good place to end. Thank you so much for your wisdom and insights. And, may we all seek one little thing to do each and every day. Thank you, Bernie.
Well, thank you very much. And I can tell you the podcast experience is excellent.
Oh, good. You made it through.
It wasn't so enjoyable.
It wasn't that painful,
I
right?
I survived.
And this was your one
All my
thing
mental
for the
resiliency
day.
Prep.
Exactly. Yes.
It was.
Yes.
So I'm good. So
Excellent.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in.
Thank you. I've got just a little bit more to say. And what I want to say is, it's really the little things that help us endure the big things. And none of us are going to escape those life challenges, those big things that come up and that are hard to deal with. But it's really the little things. So what are the little things that you've decided you're going to start doing? If I might suggest, the little things you should do are like, subscribe, and comment. And never forget, you were made for more.
I'm still not going to make my bed.
And also make your bed.